For those of you who are new here, my name is Raya Bahian and welcome to my channel. Today we're gonna do another episode of the Take It or Leave It series, and I'm gonna feature the Soph X Makeup Revolution Extra Spice palette. So if you wanna know my thoughts about this palette, then just keep on watching. Alrighty then, I have the rest of my makeup on and I don't have any eyeshadow because we're gonna test this out. And I have already played with this palette once during February 14, and so far I like the results, but I haven't tested out the longevity yet, so we will also include a wear test on this video. So this is, as you can see, the Makeup Revolution collaboration with Soft DOS Nails. This palette has 18 eyeshadows in it, and as you can see in the packaging, there are the 18 shadows, which I truly appreciate that there are names in the shadows. First off, the packaging is really gorgeous. I have a soft spot for rose gold things, especially rose gold shiny things, and it's just such a nice addition to your vanity or your makeup collection. And if you display this, it doesn't look like it's from the drugstore. It looks like a high-end eyeshadow palette. So in the actual box, you can see the expiry date here, which says 12 months after opening, and then you have the recycle, reuse, something something, and then we have also the cruelty free logo, and it also says that this palette is vegan. So for those of you who are practicing that, then this is gonna be a nice addition to your makeup vanity. So Soft DOS Nails did a collaboration already with Makeup Revolution, first with a highlighter palette and then her first eyeshadow palette. This one is her second baby, and the reason why it's called Extra Spice is that it has more flavors to it, not your usual everyday colors, but something that will really spice up your makeup look. So this is the actual palette, and as you can see, it's such a pretty palette. It's so nice. The packaging is also rose gold, and I'm blinding you, I'm sorry. So this is the actual palette itself. It says Soft X Revolution Extra Spice, 18 ultra professional eyeshadows, and you can even use this as a mirror. And on the back, if ever you lose the actual box, you also have the necessary information here, like the ingredients and the cruelty free logo and the expiry date. Ta-da! All in all, 18 eyeshadows we have here. On the first row, more of the chocolatey brown shades. The second row, you have your space there because of this blazing red, and then you have your kind of muted but still colorful tones here. What I like about this palette is that it has a nice decent mirror up here, so which means you can use it when you travel. You don't have to worry having a separate mirror, so it's also very clear and very reflective. So good job, Makeup Revolution. Now we go on to the swatches. First is Everyday. Ooh, that's just one swipe, and look at how reflective that shimmer shade is. I like it. Next we have Running Late. Running Late is something that's good for transition for warm eyeshadow looks because it's like a creamy orangey shade, kind of like Cheese Whiz. I don't know if you know Cheese Whiz, but that's how I see it. Infinity, I have tried this. Yes, that's a pretty silver shade right there, which is perfect for a cool tone smoky eye. This is Cheesecake, which is a nice orange toned brown, and then Cookie Dough, which you can't see because it's the color of my skin, which makes it the perfect transition for me. And then lastly we have Dreams, which is a nice coppery shimmery shade. So these are your shades for the first row. And And so far so good. Although swatches don't tell the entire capacity of the shadows, but whenever you swatch and feel them, you can instantly feel the kind of shadows that it's gonna be. So as for this one, it's not too powdery, but it's not too hard. These colors are the second row. We have 21, a nice raspberry red. We have sweet and sour, a true orange, vitamin C, a yellow, and then we have lakes, which is an olive green tone shade, and then enchanted, a deep purple color, and then romance, a nice cranberry shimmery shade. Again, this is consistent. It is really soft to the touch, very creamy, almost an upgrade from my Morphe shadows. Lastly, we have the third row. We have here brownies, a standard deep brown, and then chocolate orange, a toasted orangey brown. Next, we have mulled wine, which is a wine color, and then lason, which is a nice true yellow shimmery shade. I like that. And then we have aurora, a green forest green shimmery shade, and lastly we have reputation, which is a standard black. And I think the only color missing from this palette is a bone shade, which you can use to set your eyelids or your concealer or your primer down, but you can always use your face powder for that. I am very satisfied with the color scheme of this palette. It's such a nice palette to travel with because you have your standard neutral shades and then you have pops of color which you can use to spice up your makeup look. Let's proceed with the application of these shadows on my eyes. I'm gonna try to use as much colors as possible, but the way I'm envisioning my makeup look for today is a very warm smoky eye since I'm wearing orange. We start with running late with a fluffy blending brush, and I just did a few taps of that, and look at how pigmented it's coming off on my eyelids. So far, it's blending really nicely. I didn't put any eye primer on because I really want to test the longevity of these products without the influence of eye primer, so I just basically put concealer and then set it with my face powder. And as you can see, there's a bit of kickback if you dip your eyeshadow, maybe because it's so soft, that's why. And then I'm gonna pinch my blending brush and run that along my lower lash line. Okay, next let's go to sweet and sour over here. I'm gonna place that under running late just to intensify our crease shade. So far it blends well with running late, and I'm not surprised because these two are meant to be transition shades. It goes a long way. As you can see, it's showing up with just few taps. In a flat shader brush, I'm actually gonna take this pop of color right here called 21, this raspberry red, and I'm not gonna wet my brush just to see how pigmented it is. And this one is much more powdery than the others, but as you can see, the color is showing up pretty nicely if you build the color up. Also gonna run that on my lower lash line. Let's try that on a wet brush. So I'm just gonna wet my brush. Doesn't seem to have any effect, but I can see that the red color is really showing. Although with this shade you have to pack on some more eyeshadows than the first two shades that we put up, but that's okay with me as long as the actual pigmentation and the color payoff is there. I'm more into building up the shadows rather than having such a pigmented shade in just one blow. I want to have that flexibility and versatility to my blending game. So this is a nice way to build up the intensity of a look. 21, that raspberry red on my fingers and press it more. And then I'm gonna take Dreams right here and put that on the center part of my lid. Oh, look at that. That's so pretty. And I find that the shimmer shades are best used with my fingers, and upon using that, it really shows off that metallic gleam, so you can definitely build this up. But if you are gonna use a brush, make sure that you use it wet so that it gives off that nice foiled look to it. I can say that the shimmers here are spectacular indeed. During Valentine's, I used the shimmers Romance and Everyday, and I just used my fingers to apply it, and it created such a nice shimmery lid, and it's really reflective, and I can say that the formulation of the shimmers here are beyond anything that I have ever tried. And I'm just gonna intensify the red on the inner and outer corner of my eyes. And then I'm going back with some more of the Dreams shade, which is such a dreamy color. A bit of fallout from that Dreams shade. A little bit of brownies right here with a pencil brush, and try to deepen up the inner and outer corners. Gonna put 21 on top. So that's pretty much our look. Just a standard warm smoky eye, and all in all, I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of 18 shades, but I actually used on February 14 1, 2, 3 shades. So 5 plus 3, 8 out of 18. And so far, out of all the shades, this one is a little bit harder to work with, this brownies shade. But if you build it up, then you will have a nice brown shade to deepen up everything. Overall, the mattes are very buttery, very soft, very creamy, and easy to blend with. And then the metallic shades are one of a kind. They're astounding, especially if you use it with your fingers. So I'm just gonna put mascara on. So this is the final makeup look, you guys. What do you think? I think it's really pretty. Just a standard flaming smoky eye. And yeah, I'm gonna wear this throughout the day, and let's see if there are any changes after some hours. And take note, I didn't use any eye primer, so that we can really test out the performance and the longevity of these shadows. And also, so far, I'm impressed with the formula. Hello everyone, I'm back, and it's now 8 hours after I've put this makeup on, and let's assess the situation. This is the current situation of my eyelids, and I think so far everything is intact save for the ones on the inner corner. That brown part, it faded a little bit. I don't know, I don't want to say patchy, but it's a little bit patchy. You remembered I built it up so that I can put the desired intensity on my eyes, and because I've built it up, it's somewhat powdery. It has a lot of kickback, so it didn't stick well to my eyelids. So I think if I'm gonna use that particular shade, I would need to have an eye primer if I want it to stay there for a long time. But other than that, all the colors are magnificent. Even that shimmery shade on the middle part is still alive. And granted, it's 8 hours already, and I did commute, so it's a little bit warm and hot and sweaty, hence my oily situation on the T-zone. So I didn't expect it to still be there, that shimmer I put on the center part, but it's there. And sad to say, it did have some fallouts here, so if you're gonna use any of the shimmer shades from this palette, make sure that you do your eye makeup first. Now let's break down this palette into categories. First off, packaging, I give it 5 out of 5. I have a weakness for rose gold packaging, and what can I say? It's beautiful. It's simple, but it's beautiful. And then, for the actual formula of the shadows, it's good. It's actually good. I find it really surprising because I tried the Makeup Iconic something palettes before. It didn't blow my mind out. So with this palette, I was surprised that I was really enjoying it. Like the blending of the eyeshadows was not really difficult. It blended well together, especially the transition colors. Although with the dark colors, you will have to build up the shadow so that you will have to get that desired opacity. But if you get to that point, the color payoff will not disappoint you. But in my case, I don't mind that that is the situation, because for me, when I apply eyeshadow, it's always in layers, you know. I always keep on building it up, so it's an advantage for me because I don't want to have some color in one go without being able to blend it out, you know. So yeah, I think that is one of the strong points of this palette, which makes it very beginner friendly because you can really build it up to its maximum potential. The shimmers are to die for. They're beautiful, especially if you wet it up or if you use your fingers. I've mentioned it earlier and I still attest to that by now. And I would like to create more looks using this palette and of course using the shimmer shades. So yeah, expect this to have a lot of exposure in my channel. What else? For the price, I got it for 950 pesos. I think that's a decent price for the eyeshadow palette. It's not high-end level, I think, but it's not too bad either. I would say it's in the high-medium spectrum, and it's definitely better than the Morphe shadows that I have. It's a lot more creamy, a lot more pigmented, a lot more buttery. Sometimes with my Morphe shadows, some shades are duds, you know. And I also appreciate the fact that the color scheme is very different, but at the same time very classic, you know. There are your usual neutral shades, and then you have your pops of colors if you want to have a little bit of drama on your eyes. So I would say this is an all-around palette. If you want to have something that you can play with for like a simple look or a very colorful look, then this is a nice palette to start with. That said, I give this palette an 8 out of 10 rating, and I would say you should definitely take it if you are eyeing it, because this is a nice addition to your collection and it will not disappoint you, because I guarantee you that you will have much use for this palette, and it's not something that is not worth your money, and I find myself willing to reach for it on future occasions. So that's a sign for me that this palette is worth my money. So yeah, I think that completes our video for today. If you have any questions regarding this palette, comment down below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you on my next video. Bye!